It's that time of the week again. We get to talk golf. I'm Adam Kaufman, joined as always by Jason Sobel from the Action Network. And Jason, of course, ZOZO Championship is on all of our minds right now. Hideki Matsuyama, who of course was a runner-up a couple of years ago, is back in his native Japan. He is, a guy who I think a lot of people are looking at as potential to win this event. Patrick Cantlay took it last year, but again, that event was in California, not Japan, where Tiger Woods won the inaugural event a couple of years ago. So how do you feel about Hideki's chances this week?
Yeah, 2 years is a long time, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't feel like that long ago in some respects that Tiger Woods won the inaugural edition of the ZOZO Championship in Japan for his 82nd PGA Tour title, but in some ways it feels like 2 decades ago. In any case, we get to Hideki, who was runner-up that year at this very golf course to Tiger Woods, lost by 3 shots that year. And I go back to a quote that I got from Hideki about Hideki from a Japanese journalist who has covered him for a long time when I was writing a piece on him years ago. And she told me he doesn't speak much English, but he doesn't speak that much Japanese either. And the idea behind that is that he's a very shy, quiet guy. And earlier in his career, there was an idea that Hideki might not play his best golf in his homeland because there's so much attention, so many eyeballs, so many cameras flashing all around him, and that he didn't really like all of that attention. Well, over the last few years, he's played 3 events in Japan, including the Olympics. He's finished 2nd, 4th, and 8th. So I think he's kind of gotten over any sort of shyness around being in front of these big crowds and big media contingents. And so I expect it to be a very good week for Hideki. It's a top-heavy field. He can look at this field and say, look, other than maybe 2 other players, and I'm sure we're going to talk about them, I am probably the best player here, and I've got a good chance to win an event that probably means more to him than it means to some other players in this field.
Hideki Matsuyama with the 4th best odds to win this event. Again, as Jason mentioned, a runner-up a couple of years ago, but now the favorite here with plus 600 odds on the DraftKings Sportsbook is Xander Schauffele. How do you like his chances?
Very interesting, the fact that Xander was enlisted as the favorite over Colin Morikawa, and I get it. There are some very good reasons. There's some narratives here. Xander loves playing these shortened events, these limited field events with no cut. He's had a very strong history at these tournaments. He's, of course, coming off a win the last time he was in Japan, got the gold medal at the Olympics a few months ago. And he also tends to play well on shorter golf courses. This course is just over 7,000 yards long, granted a par 70, but he does tend to tear up shorter golf courses. Again, I like Xander. It's hard not to like Xander in an event where you look at it and say, he might only be challenged by a couple of the really top players in this field. So if he goes out there and has his best stuff, he doesn't have to beat a whole lot of other guys of similar skill level. So again, I can't really give you a fade from the top of the board because these guys, quite frankly, don't have a whole lot of competition from some elite peers this week like they usually do.
Rickie Fowler, Jason, had a tough season, as we know, but of course, he was very good last time out. CJ Cup tied for 3rd. His odds right now are plus 2,500 going into this one. Where's he stand for you?
Yeah, I didn't think we'd see Rickie at plus 2,500 anytime soon, but here we are in an average field, I'll call it, with Rickie coming off that share of 3rd place. Had the 54-hole lead, only shot a 71 in Sunday's final round when everybody else around him was going super low. That's okay. All part of the process for Rickie, but I do believe that process will continue. I don't know that he's ready to go out there and win 1 week after playing some of his best golf that he has in the last 2 years. So I think it's coming. I think at some point Rickie gets back to being a top 25, top 30 player in the world. I think he's going to win again on the PGA Tour, and I think it's going to happen this season, but I'm just not sure it's ready to happen this week. And at that number, it's just too low for me to go chasing Rickie after one really good week.
Who are your favorite long shots on the board this week?
You know, last week I looked at the board and I thought Keith Mitchell was a great long shot. He was 250 to 1. I thought, he's better than that. He's mispriced a little bit, and he wound up being the 36-hole leader and finishing in a share of 3rd place. I looked at the odds board this week, and the one name that stuck out to me, a guy who's behind some players that, quite frankly, he's a better player than, is Sung Kang. This guy's won on the PGA Tour before. In 4 of his last 5 starts, he's finished at him between 15th and 47th place. Not a world beater, not exactly lighting the world afire, but he's a very solid player. And look, if some of these guys at the top of the board this week at the ZOZO fall off the pace a little bit. We're talking about Schauffele. We're talking about Collin Morikawa. We're talking about Hideki Matsuyama. If it's not one of those guys, this thing's wide open. And why not chase a player like Sung Kang, who's got 130 to 1 odds this week, as opposed to a player like Rickie Fowler at 25 to 1? I'd rather go for that big number.
Now, Jason, whether it's someone who's just not golfing particularly well, so the form, the status concerns you a little bit, or just the odds are a little bit too long, who are you completely fading this week?
It was a really rough 2-week stretch in Vegas for Siwoo Kim. Either that or it was a fantastic 2-week stretch in Vegas for Siwoo Kim. And he just didn't play very good golf. Either way, the results were not there. He's 35 to 1 this week. I am going to fade Siwoo. It looked like he was starting to play well at the beginning of the season. He's a very volatile player. And so if someone's going to turn things around in a hurry, it can certainly be Siwoo. But I'm going to stay away based on what we saw from his results over the last couple of weeks in Vegas. He missed the cut at the Shriners and was second to last at the CJ Cup. So that's a no-go for me.
We always save the most important question for last, the one that people care the most about, and that is, who is going to win the ZOZO Championship?
All right, so this is an interesting question, a little bit of a loaded question, more so this week than other weeks. I think that I usually like to give you, hey, here's the guy that I like to win. Take him at these odds. You're going to do well. If everybody in the field had the same odds, which, hey, let's try that one day. I would take Collin Morikawa in this field. I think he's just outclassing the rivals. He's this should be a good course for the world's preeminent ball striker, quite frankly, the best iron player in the game right now. This should be right up his alley, coming off a runner-up finish where he shot 62 on Sunday in Las Vegas. That said, Collin Morikawa is right around plus 650, plus 700 as we speak right now. And so I just don't want to chase a guy that's got that short of a number. So I'm looking at another player who plays really well on short golf courses, CT Pan. He won the bronze medal in Japan just a few months ago during the Olympics. He's finished 6th and 11th place in his first 2 starts of this young PGA Tour season already. I like the number that he's got. I like the fact that he's coming in under the radar a little bit. He really is an underrated type of player because I think he's a lot better than people realize, especially on the right golf course. And this could and maybe should be the right golf course for CT Pan.
See, I would say Jason Sobel is better than people realize, but I think everybody knows how good this guy is. Jason, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Adam.